Well, for me, it's always something about what I'm feeling or going through. I think it's kind of a little bit of therapy or something. When I write a movie idea, it's something true about myself at the core of it. Something I'm struggling with, or I'm confused about. The characters will be going through that. Um, a moral issue or a loss of faith in some way. I mean, I have those kind of if you're one of my friends or family, I'm constantly boring everyone with conversations about faith and all that stuff. So I think that the movies always have that underneath. So it isn't just about scaring. I love scary movies, but underneath that, there's always some conversation about beliefs. Well, there's a but. When I come up with a movie idea, I often have two ideas, and I fill out two journals to try to figure out which one I want to make, and it's a struggle. It's almost like a Sophie's Choice, choosing which child to take onto the train, and I go, okay, I'll make this one next. I'm gonna make this next. I'm gonna make this one first, and I'm gonna make this one next. And then by the time the year and a half ends, there's another idea, and I filled another journal, and you end up becoming a different person. And because there's so much about personal issues and personal things I'm feeling, 2 years earlier, I'm a different person, and it just doesn't feel right to do that particular story anymore for personal reasons, that I'm not going through that anymore with the characters that the characters are going through. But I still love the story so much. So I started to feel like, why don't we make these with amazing, new filmmakers or up and coming filmmakers, and I get to learn from them, and I get to have, a whole a set of colleagues I can work with, and all these stories could be told. Because for me, my dream is definitely to be Agatha Christie. That she's my hero. 80 books, and she told 80 stories, and her life was up and down and had incredible, drama to it. But she just told stories as a way to, express herself. And I would love to tell as many stories as possible. They all auditioned. We had tons and tons of people come and audition, and for obvious reasons in Devil, because actually Devil is a very Agatha Christie story. You don't want to have like one famous person in the elevator, which will tell you something about what the characters are. You want to kind of have five faces that you don't really know very well, and so you're learning about who they are, as the movie progresses. Well, it's so tricky. First of all, I'm Indian, so that's always tricky right there to try. It's like no matter what, if you walk onto a screen, and as I become, more well known, it becomes distracting for the audience. No matter, they're watching a movie, and all of a sudden, somebody they know comes on screen. It pulls you out of the movie. So it has to be exactly the right character, exactly the right time in the movie. It's a tricky balancing act to pull off without the audience freaking out. In fact, I've always thought like maybe the very first thing they see in the movie is me. They get their reaction out, and then the movie starts. Like I'll be the guy giving coffee at the thing to the main character and saying, "Hey, you want this?" And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, there," and they're all settling in. That for me, that's probably the best version. It's like as front as you can make it, because the later you go, like if you're in the third act, if I pop up in the third act somewhere, literally the whole audience goes crazy. They're like, "Oh, no, no, no." They stop paying. They're like, "That's no, no, no." They're telling their mom and their little kid, and that's him. That's the one that made the movie. And you're like, "Oh man, just watch the movie." The new one's about reincarnation, and it's a subject, obviously, that I've wanted to make a movie about for a long time, because in the Indian culture, it's obviously a significant belief, and it's a subject that I feel hasn't been done with the kind of authenticity that I'm interested in. And so this is our opportunity to really delve into that subject. And we're super, super lucky to have the director of The Last Exorcism is directing the next Night Chronicle. So we're very excited about it. No, you know what? It's literally just a family thing. It's just a family thing. I didn't want to burden the family with my goals. You know, like if you have kids, you know, it's a burden. You know, they need their dad, and they need their dad there at dinner. For me, you know, I need to be there at dinner time. I need to be there on the weekends. And so if I write, I have the power because I'm writing it. So if I say, you know, Madrid, you know, exterior Madrid, and then, you know, but then when am I going to shoot it, and how am I going to do it, and when are my kids going to see me, and you know, and all of that stuff. It would only work for me if I could move everyone here and do it. I mean, once upon a time, they came to me to talk about doing Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter, and that was a really tricky conversation because I was like, you know, we're going to have to move to England, and this is a long movie, and those conversations, and it's a life choice because, you know, unlike people that go to like a job at the bank or something like that, it doesn't hit everyone in the family so hard if they change banks. But if I write, you know, interior Madrid apartment building, that's a huge impact on my daughters and so while they're little, I've been kind of keeping it in Philadelphia, but you know, they're getting older, so you might just see exterior Madrid. Something terrible happens. There's a scream. A woman falls out a window. You know, it'll be fantastic. So I'm with you, brother. I'll be here soon.